I broke my leg sliding into first. And I'll pause because this is where most people say you're not supposed to slide into first. But I'll caveat it. I was already on first. I was running on the pitch, fly ball to right field, had to get back. And
Okay.
when I got back and the dust settled, my foot was 90 degrees to where it was supposed to be.
Yikes.
Yeah. So fortunately, no surgery. But um, my wife's like, "Are you done playing baseball?" I'm like, "No, not in the least." But
Good for
that's
you.
it. I'm out for 6 weeks, and we'll see what happens after that.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sounds of Health. I'm your host, Dave MacNiven, and I'm thrilled to welcome our guest today, Rick Stockfield, the founder and president of the 3 Up and 3 Down organization. If you're here for Rick, please be sure to like and subscribe to Sounds of Health, where every week we uncover inspiring stories, meet incredible people, and share valuable resources to help you boost your physical, emotional, and financial well-being. Rick, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. I know how busy you are, so we appreciate you taking the time out. I'm actually just admiring everything that's behind you. I'm a huge sports and especially baseball fan, and that's a really incredible backdrop you've got there.
I appreciate it. When we moved to the area about 20 years ago, my beautiful bride allowed me to have my little man cave, I guess, in the basement. So this
Nice.
this really part of it. The rest is kind of Syracuse and poker related, but I guess you got most of the my baseball background. Yeah,
I
so
do,
get some
yeah. I can see you're a Yankees fan.
born and raised.
I'm not
Yes,
going to hold it against you.
that's okay.
No,
World
actually,
needs it.
I grew up in a family, so I'm an Orioles fan. My dad was from Baltimore.
Okay.
And my mom's side of the family were all from this area, and so they were all Yankees fans. So I used to talk the Yankees with my grandfather all the time. And just I'm a big baseball lover, but the Orioles are very important to me.
As a Yankee fan, I've always appreciated the Orioles. My uncle's from Baltimore. He used to be, fun fact, he was actually Baltimore Orioles photographer for many years.
Oh, no way. That's
uh, back
amazing.
back in the 70s. Yes, Bob Stockfield. And actually, I'm a huge fan of a lot of guys that have played for the Baltimore Orioles. My youngest son is named Cal
Oh, no
for
way.
good reason.
Man, I knew I
For good
liked you
reason.
for some reason.
Yes, yes.
That is
Little odd
awesome.
ending.
All right, good. That's great. We're going to get along really well.
We will.
So you and I met because a friend of mine had mentioned this charity poker tournament that you were running, and I took a look at it and I signed up right away, and I got to attend this year. And I got to tell you, that was a really fantastic event. You guys do an amazing job putting all of that together.
Appreciate it. It's labor of love. This was our 8th annual. What started out as 86 poker players in 2017. We hit 212 this year.
Wow!
So
Holy
it's
cow!
fun to be able to put on that production. It's a lot of work, but it's for a great cause, and we enjoy putting it on. Glad you were able to attend.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will mark it on my calendar for when it comes around next year.
Absolutely, be the end of March. So.
Awesome. That's so great. So definitely want to talk to you a little bit more about that. But first, why don't we just begin with your background, where you're from, and what brought you to do all the great things you're doing today?
Yeah, I mean, I'm originally from the Hudson Valley. I grew up in Poughkeepsie, New York. Went to Arlington High School, undergraduate and graduate school up at Syracuse University, political science. I have a master's in public administration. Always had a love of government, actually, giving back. I'd worked for the New York State Legislature after graduate school, after attending the Maxwell School. And then I realized I didn't want to work on a government salary. So I wound up interviewing in Albany, New York for KPMG, Pete Marwick, part of their government consulting group. I liked them, they liked me, but they didn't have anything. So I wound up actually moving down to Atlanta where they had a position down there. I was young, I was 24. I was like, hey, let's go. So I moved down to Atlanta. You talk about your love of the Orioles. I lived in Atlanta for the better part of 13, 14 years, and I had a strong appreciation for the Braves down there. I
Yeah,
moved down in 96, actually 95. I did get to be there I was there for the Olympics. The good fortune of seeing the New York Yankees in the World Series against the Braves
that's
in
awesome.
96, where they won. But yeah, so I lived down in Atlanta, and I was kind of tell people I was smart enough to move away and kind of stupid enough to move back up here. But as life has it, my wife got a job with the Walt Disney Company. We moved to Los Angeles in the mid 2000s. Our son, who's now 20, was one at the time, and we said, let's go. So we moved out to LA in Southern California. My job was flexible at the time. I owned a recruiting firm, and I did placed accounting, finance, tax, and audit professionals. Um, and I was like, you know what? I could do this from anywhere. Kind of the advent of the teleremote and work from home, and that
Yeah.
was me. So I was working from home, helping take care of my 1-year-old, and that's been a big part of my life is taking care of my kids. If I had my druthers, that's all I would do. And but as life happens, we got preggers with kid number two. We're all set to move back to Atlanta. I said, well, all our families back in New York and Connecticut. My bride is from Brookfield, Connecticut. So we said, let's go back. And we've since relocated. We reside in Paterson, New York. My in-laws are in Brookfield, as I mentioned. My father's in Mattapack. So the Hudson Valley, it'll always be home for me. We've now been back in the area for the last, 18 years. Going to be paroled soon. My youngest will be graduating high school in a few years, and then we'll see where life takes us.
Right. Yeah.
But in my time here, I wound up joining the board of the Hudson Valley Cerebral Palsy Association, which doesn't just help those with cerebral palsy, but individuals with traumatic brain injuries, a lot of different developmental disabilities, and they had a preschool for children with autism. And so that was kind of when I was asked to join that board, that was my first advent into kind of giving back to the community, volunteering my time. I was on that board for about 5 years. And it really was the harbinger of what led me to, start Three Up, Three Down several years later. So, but that's just a little bit about me and my background.
Now, are you still running that same company, or did things change there?
I'm out of the recruiting game, if that's
Okay.
what you're referring to. When I moved back to the area, I was still doing recruiting. I was still doing actually Atlanta-based recruiting at the time from LA, and then back in New York, I was doing Atlanta-based recruiting and got out of the game about 5 to 6 years ago.
Okay.
Just really wasn't enjoying what I was doing, and you asked for saving, health tips, saving and investing. I was had the good fortune of being able to retire early, and kind of do what I want to do. And part of that was helping raise my kids,
Yeah.
and other was to start a nonprofit, something I'd had experience in being on the board of, but never, thought I'd be the one that would ever start my own nonprofit.
Yeah.
At 2017, yeah.
That's really amazing. I totally can relate to the wanting to be home with your kids and be a dad. That's definitely been a high priority for me as well. It's actually what brought me to what I'm doing now. I used to work in nonprofit, and that work was nights and weekends and all types of things, and didn't want to miss out on my kids growing up. So ended up getting into insurance, and
Okay.
and was able to not miss anything. So that's been a really great thing. I'm very grateful for. So I get that desire to want to be there for all of those things.
Absolutely.
And then for you to open a nonprofit, I mean, that's not an easy thing to do. What exactly? Tell us a little bit about Three Up, Three Down, because the first time I had heard about it was with the poker tournament.
Mhm.
But tell us, what brought you to doing that specifically?
Yeah, it's interesting. Again, I had never had the thought of starting something like this. I had mentioned I was on the board of another organization. Um, I learned a lot. I was by far the youngest board member. I had told them when I interviewed with them I wasn't going to be a silent board member, but they were the largest nonprofit in this area. Again, did a lot of good work, but the larger the organization, there's going to be chinks in the armor. There's going to be opportunities for improvement.
Mhm.
And they were kind of set in their ways of doing things. And I'm not shy about talking what the catalyst was. They wanted to build a field, what they were going to call an opportunity league park. And I immediately fell in love with it. It was going to be a field for children with developmental disabilities in this area in the Hudson Valley. Um, and I fell in love and I started helping them do fundraising. I helped them start poker tournaments. They were already doing golf outings and they raised close to $400,000 in a few years of fundraising. And quite honestly, they decided they were going to intermingle their funds. And the monies that were supposed to be earmarked for a field were now, I'll use their words, needed to help run the organization. And I
Wow.
wasn't really a fan of that. And me being me, I kind of have a big mouth. And let's just say I try to help them set the record straight and go the right path. And they didn't quite see it that way. My background in operational performance audits, I highly recommended that they do one of those. They didn't agree with me. So I had an opportunity to, let's just say, leave and go do the right thing. And
Yeah.
so it really was the catalyst. So in February 2017, I started the nonprofit, Three Up, Three Down, with three main purposes and missions, all of which hold true today. The first was to give back to the baseball community. I'm a big baseball guy, as you can see behind me, but baseball is, still is my first love after my wife, of course,
Good save.
but really baseball's taught me so many lessons in life. And I've seen a lot of the local little leagues struggle to get registrations up or keep kids in the game. A lot of recreation departments are spread thin. So one of the things that we do is we do our fundraisers and we're committed to giving away ten to $15,000 in grants to local little leagues to get kids in the game, keep them in in-house baseball. They could use the funds for umpiring fees. They could use them for field costs, for registration, for equipment. And so we've been strongly committed to that. We've given to date over $125,000 of grants away
That's
over the
amazing.
last now 8 years. Really, Putnam, Orange, Fairfield counties, really all over the area. If anybody goes to our website, Three Up, Three Down, they can see one, how to apply for a grant, two, where we've done, our work in the past. Water Oak, Connecticut, Milford, I know where your base is. Weston, Connecticut, got one this year, Stamford, Connecticut. So, Danbury. So it's important for us regardless of whether geographically, it's not like, oh, it's just for Putnam County or just for Dutchess County. It's really what I consider the greater Hudson Valley area. So we do give those grants away every year, and that's worked out great. That's number one. Number two is to support children with developmental disabilities. So it's kind of an interesting kind of combination of baseball and developmental disabilities. But again, for anyone that knows me, baseball is my first love, I guess my third love. I'll order them. My wife's in there somewhere, and my kids are first.
Yeah.
And I do have a child on the spectrum, Evan. He's my soon-to-be 17-year-old. And it's always difficult to identify really solid programs and services for him that are appropriate for him. Typical sports have always been a challenge for him. So it's important for us to give away to organizations that do support children with developmental disabilities. So every year we're committed to giving away grants to those types of organizations. At the poker event that you were at, we
Yeah.
gave away two such grants, one to Blue Path Service Dogs, and the other was to Green Chimneys, which has a local campus by us. They help educate children on the spectrum. And that leads us to our third, which is our long-term goal of actually building that field that I had mentioned earlier. It won't be called the Opportunity League Park, but so we're still figuring out what the proper name's going to be, but it will be an adaptive and inclusion playground somewhere in the Hudson Valley area. I'm not sure where it's going to be. It could tiptoe into Connecticut. Right now we're just really at phase one, which is locate land, locate where this park is going to be. And the park will be for children of all abilities. There are, if you may or may not be familiar with certain challenger leagues, these are baseball leagues for children on the spectrum. But what we want to do is really kind of go across different sports. If we can build a field, an adaptive field that would be for children for soccer, lacrosse, football, so that children really of all abilities, not just developmental, it could be emotional, and other type of disabilities. Really, there are certain parks and playgrounds throughout our area. I know in Connecticut, there are some in Bridgeport,
Hmm.
in Hartford, is one in Yorktown, Heights, New York. But up in our area, specific where I'm at, there's really no park like it. And so that's really our long-term goal of what we're looking to do with Three Up, Three Down.
That's amazing. So it's not just a playground, an adaptive playground, but you're thinking about actual sports fields, space to play.
Yeah, this if you're familiar, and I know you are, a guy by the name of Cal Ripken
Yeah,
Jr.
I've heard of them.
And this is totally coincidental, but Cal Ripken Sr., who was his dad, he used
Yeah.
to manage the Baltimore Orioles. He started an organization, I want to say about 15 years ago. I first found out about it when I was on the previous board. I had the good fortune of meeting Cal Ripken Jr. This is about 9 years ago, in Bridgeport, Connecticut. They opened up a set of fields. Uh,
Yeah.
you happen to be there. I was like, can I go? Can I go? But I still have the card of the individual, the director there. His name is Chuck Brady. Um, he's, out of the Baltimore area where the Cowkin Senior Foundation, what they do is they build parks in underprivileged areas. And they love the idea of doing an adaptive playground, doing an adaptive park, which wheelchair accessible.
Yeah.
Um, or children, on the spectrum.
That's amazing. It's an incredible organization they have. For my when I got married, my gift to my groomsmen was a ticket to go down to Baltimore and go to
Okay.
one of their baseball coaching camps.
Okay.
So it was an extra trip. My wife was like, "Really, you're going away again with your guys?" But we
Yeah, I
got to
get
go
it.
down. We learned baseball from Cal and Billy and Don Mattingly was there and Jim Palmer.
Yep.
So that's and I've sent my kids down to their Ripken camps. The work
Yeah.
that Cal does and the Ripken Foundation does is really incredible. So that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I had the good fortune of I met Cal briefly. I'm sure it'll be a lot different. He typically does go to the field openings, so there's a little more incentive for me. But
Right.
but that organization's really great. I love what they do. They've been very proactive with me. I'm a slow and steady wins the race. I've been doing this for 8 years. Not like I just like, hey, I'm going to go start a nonprofit and build a field right away.
Yeah.
No, I wanted people, like I said, we're still in phase one. We've been a grassroots organization for the last 8 years. I'm looking to kind of expand beyond that. Um, Really, donor dollars are what's going to get this field eventually built. I have a lot of the connections, so really it's community support. It's identifying the location of the field next, and then obviously donor dollars will be a big factor.
That's amazing. I love it. How big is your organization? Do you have a lot of people working with you on achieving these goals you've set?
So I don't know if we'll be able to do this for too much longer, but as I mentioned, grassroots
Yeah.
organization, literally we do not have any FTEs. There's not one paid employee. I've had interns. We do have a very active board. I think we're up to 11, maybe 12 board members, all whom I know personally through the community, whether it be through baseball, whether it be through my network with those that are familiar with developmental disabilities. And we just added a new board member. She was a recreation director locally, but also very familiar with grant writing. And she has actually built a park, an inclusion playground
Oh
locally
wow.
called Julie's Jungle out of East Fishkill, New York, which to me, I would love to model, the inclusion park part of our uh, uh, you know, development, overall field, if you will, after that. So no full-time employees yet. As we get bigger, that may change, but I've been
Yeah,
committed to 100% of the monies coming in are beyond accountable. That's very important to me based on some things that I've seen in the past.
sure. Yeah, that's important. It's really important.
Very-
So tell me what the poker connection is then. Like, what made you want to do a poker tournament as a fundraiser, and how does that connect to everything?
Um, so I'll see. Probably my fifth love is probably poker.
Okay.
So beyond baseball, I started playing poker when a lot of other people did back around 2003. Chris Moneymaker won the World Series of Poker as an amateur. I had played poker a couple years prior to that. My wife's actually the one that got me into it, and if she hears that, she'll probably, bite her tongue, but she did. We were in Vegas, I think around late 90s, and she goes, "Oh, look, they have like poker lessons." So I started playing when I was 28, 29, 30. You play with your friends. The poker got really big in the early 2000s, or well, yeah, early 2000s.
Yeah.
Um, I've been playing ever since, and I have strong poker connections in the community. I know a lot of people that play. That's why I'm able to do what I do. Another gentleman, Larry Langlois, who's always been a really strong fan of Three Up, Three Down. He was kind of the harbinger. He started doing charity and fundraising tournaments, 15, 16, 17 years ago. He's since moved down to Florida and makes sure he's back for my tournament every single year. So I owe him a huge debt of gratitude, but I've pretty much taken his structure and applied it. And I think it's important to do it right, right?
Yeah.
To not just say 100% of the funds are going, but we do give away prizes to make it fun for everybody, not just, hey, this is going to be a 3 hour tournament. For anyone that's been and you have, I don't know how, I didn't ask you how long did you last that day?
Not long enough.
Not long.
No,
Okay.
past the first
Um,
break, but not much further.
Okay. So for anyone that has not been, we start at 10:30 in the morning. We open the doors at 9. We have what's called a rebuy period where as long as you have either cash or a credit card, you can play as long as you want.
Right.
That goes to about 1 o'clock, and then we break for about an hour and 15 minutes of phenomenal barbecue lunch. And then we play to the death, if you will. But we wind up wrapping up around a little before midnight.
Oh wow.
And it's quite the long day
Yeah.
with 212 players, but it's real poker.
Yeah, it
And
is. Yeah.
yeah, it is. And it's a lot of fun. And we make sure that, it's not just give, 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 which is phenomenal, for the day, but we make sure that people come away, you were there. I don't know if you got to meet, we had Scotty Wynn, who's
Yep.
won
Got a
the
picture
World
with
Series of
Scotty.
Poker. We had former New York Giant Sean Landetta
Yep.
there, and we had Stefan Matteau of New York Ranger fame. So we make sure it's fun for everybody, a little something. Even people that don't know how to play, we do a little tutorial for. But like I said, I've played poker for the last 30 years. I have a strong network there. I still play weekly. So it's a little something for everybody and breaks up the monotony. Because I mean, look, golf tournaments are great, but not everybody golfs, or
Right.
it's a long day. So we're kind of the only sizable poker tournament that I know around the area. So
Yeah.
fortunate in that regard.
It was just so well done and such an incredible event. I'm a big poker player as well. I've been playing since my kids were born, so
Yeah.
about 18 years or so. And I love the game. Like I just think it's a great game. There's a lot of strategy to it. I think it really, you can learn a lot from it. So I've been playing weekly, but I used to work for the Michael J. Fox Foundation years and years ago when I was living in New York, and they did a charity poker event one year that I had worked. I wasn't playing at the time, but I thought, wow, this was a really nice event. Like just the camaraderie and the fun and the excitement around it. And I hadn't seen anybody else do it until I saw the invite for yours. So really well done.
Well, I appreciate that. A lot of work goes into it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's typically about 3 months worth of planning. And, y- you know, I wouldn't be able to do it without the strong poker Rolodex and the repeat players. And yeah, we do some advertising on Facebook and Instagram, but a lot of it really is word of mouth. And that's how we get people. And I figure if you do it right, what starts right finishes right. So we've
Yeah.
started it right back in 2017, and it's important to give people that real feel, but also that they know where their donor dollars are going.
Yeah.
And so it's a really strong combination. And, just I'm very fortunate. We've got some great local businesses that, every single one of those silent auction and raffle items were donated. And all told, I believe there was something like 67 items all
Yeah.
told.
That's
And
amazing.
Yankee, sports tickets and memorabilia and maple syrup and pretty much anything that you can
Right.
imagine we had there. So there was a little something for everyone that day, and I'm very, like I said, very fortunate to have the strong Rolodex that we have and the repeat players. I had gone to an event actually. Scotty Wynn, after our event, invited me. His daughter actually did to an event 2 weeks later in New York City.
Nice.
And the discrepancy from, let's say, where we are, you and I, from New York City, an hour and 15, and New York City is such a different animal where they could put on an event, get three big sponsors, and
Yeah.
make 1.2 million. It's like,
Right. Yeah.
I'm like busting my rump for 3 months, and from every little $100, restaurant certificate, which is great, by the way, but it's painful. But
Yeah. It's a lot of
but
work.
yeah, I went to this, but this was also a $5,000 a head event
Oh, wow.
that I'm
Yeah.
sure people's companies paid for. But this just showed the difference. They raised 1.2 million, had I think 100 players there. I had 212 players there. We raised 87,000, and I'm ecstatic
That's
about that.
amazing. Absolutely.
For a grassroots charity to do that, but it's going to take a long time, a lot of poker tournaments to build the approximately $2 million field that I want to build. So we are looking for some larger donors. So if any of your listeners,
Yeah.
have a million or two laying around, just let me know. That'd
We
be great.
may
But
be. We don't
appreciate
know
it.
who's out there yet, so we'll
You don't know
definitely
who's out there.
we'll
We'll see how
point them
strong
your
your
way.
listeners are. Yeah.
I think that's great. Is that your largest fundraiser that you do each year?
It is. We're going to be doing a comedy event in the fall. I think it's going to be October 19th, if I'm not mistaken. I'm in the process of updating our website and getting the details for that. But we've been largely a one-trick pony. These events do take a long
Yeah,
time.
they do.
We're fortunate. One of our board members was one of the big promoters, VP actually of the Hudson Valley Renegades. And so one of his big fundraisers was a comedy night. I said, hey, do it for us. So we're
That's
going to be doing
great.
our inaugural check fundraiser comedy night come October. But so yes, by default, that is our largest. It was our only until this year. So it's difficult. Like I said, you don't want to continue to bang the same constituents. We've
Yeah.
been very fortunate, like I said, with our donors every year. They continue to come through, but we are looking to get outside of that grassroots type of organization and start getting into a little more corporate donors if we can.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great that you have this long-term goal of this facility in place, but in the meantime, it doesn't keep you from having a real impact on these local organizations as well.
I think it's important and it has been from day one to give back,
Yeah.
right? I don't want to just like I said, we would have another 125,000 towards a field we want to build, but it's only so long that you can say, hey, we're going to build the field, and not have any, leaving anything behind.
Yeah.
So, like I said, so part of our goal and mission was from day one to fundraise and to give away funds in the same year. And so that's been very important to us.
Yeah, and I think that that's an amazing thing. I know I coached my kids all up through Little League, and we had a huge community of guys and coaches that really made that experience a positive one for them. But there's a lot of kids that don't have the opportunity to play baseball or to play a sport, and to be able to support these local organizations in their endeavor to get more kids
Mhm.
involved and do more for the community. It's just such a win-win-win-win-win. Like everybody wins. So I think that's amazing that you guys are doing that.
Yeah, thank you. No, I mean, like I said, that you put it best. Keep winning.
Yeah,
I
right.
enjoy, and if anybody that goes to our website, I'm big on documenting our successes. And I say successes anytime we get to give a check away.
Yeah.
And, so we just announced a few weeks ago, announced our recipients. And, I found out in the last week, two of them, one's having a barbecue honoring us, another's doing a parade, and we're apparently the guest of honor. I'm like, great, I'm happy to give you guys money every year. But
Right.
these are organizations, one's the Beekman Athletic Club in Dutchess County, and others, Pauling, actually also in Dutchess County. But there are multiple recipients where they epitomize the types of organizations that we want to give funds away to. They're not just going to take our money and put it in their account or pay themselves. And
Right.
trust me, there's been plenty of organizations that I'll say haven't really done the right thing.
Yeah.
So we make, each organization, how you're going to use it, and by year's end, how you have used it,
Yeah.
and make them document. It's really important, and I'll rephrase, most organizations do the right thing. They're
Yeah.
using this, not like they're putting in their pocket. It's just a matter of what their plans are. We get solicitations all the time. Hey, my kid's going to Cooperstown, or hey, we're fundraising for our teams. And I will tell you as an individual, if your child or you individually, I don't know if you've ever been to Cooperstown, you have the opportunity, go. It
Right.
is fun. If you're a baseball person, it is like the purest place you can go. It's baseball heaven there. And I've actually been to um, the park up there. I think it's like Doubleday Park or something like that, or
Yeah.
Field of Dreams. I forget what they call it, but when they've had their tournaments up there, and it's absolutely amazing. But that is kind of like a luxury. And it's a really nice to have, and kids should go. But really, our funds I'm meant for in-house baseball,
Yeah.
for the kids getting started to, excuse me, keep kids in the game. Again, recreation departments are spread thin. Recreation in most towns are loss leaders. At least I believe they should be. Some towns they treat them as fundraising, but
Right.
or
Yeah.
to I've always been a fan of recreation, and any town should be a loss leader. And but with that, it's tough. It's tough. Pitching mounds get shorter and shorter. They have big holes in them.
Yeah.
Bases are unsafe. Um, so our job is to help supplement that and get kids in the game.
I think that's such important work because I really do think it's such a strong part of any community is, what you have available for the youth to participate in and to learn from. And I know I find it heartbreaking when I drive by a baseball field that hasn't been kept up, one that's kind of, and we have a few of them in our area, one that's been neglected or not, taken care of. And it's just such a wasted opportunity because it's space in an area that can be used for so many positive things for people.
Yeah, I agree. Even at my advanced age, I still play. I play in a
Nice.
45 and older league, part of the NABA. Actually, I take that back. I coach in the NABA, but I'm part of the MSBL, which is a large national organization. I've been playing part of the Hudson Valley MSBL for many years. I play in a 45 and older division, and we have the good fortune and the bad fortune to play on a lot of local fields, and some are kept up
Yeah.
very well. Some recreation departments do a phenomenal job, and some really don't. Either they're not putting the money in, or the people there, the staff, don't know what they're doing. And
Yeah.
just because you sweep some of the dirt back into the hole doesn't mean that's how to prepare a mound. And they should like have this stuff on the internet. Well, that's right, they do.
Right. Exactly.
But wherever we elect to build the field, it's going to be in partnership with a town, municipality, and a county that supports recreation.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
we're not going anywhere. It's not like we're just going to build a park. We're going to be there for programs and services, but we want a solid partnership with an organization, or with towns and municipalities that want recreation in their towns.
Yeah, I can only imagine that that's so important so that it isn't just a one-off, hey, look what we did. And then now over the course of the next 10 years, it's just going to, kind of get worse from here. But everything that you've said about the organization, the way that you've approached it, it just goes to show that you're in it for the long haul and that you've been building it in the right way. So I find that really inspiring. So thank you for doing that work because it's really important.
Thank you.
Yeah. And so, what is your kind of future vision for it? And I know we've talked about how you guys need support. Where should people go to learn more and to get involved?
They could go right to our website. It's 3up3down.org. The number three, the word up, the number three, the word down.org. We're in the process of revamping our website. We're actually going to be creating a field and park page on there. That should be up sometime in the next couple of weeks. But we're always looking for volunteers. We're always looking for money, ideas, land, donations, and people that know this. I don't know everything. I assure you, a lot of this stuff, yes, I know baseball, I know poker, I know children, but I don't know everything. I'm learning about adaptive playgrounds and fields myself. And the California Senior Foundation has been wonderful with that. There's a lot of different companies that will build these inclusion parks. Um, but this is not just Rick Stockfield. This is truly a community project, and not a lot of those exist. Like, this is not just me. This is going to be built, and as you put it, we're not going anywhere. Programs and services surrounding this park that we want to build are going to be very important. And that's where some of the local legislators and town supervisors I've met and recreation directors I've spoken to, that's where actually they get excited, because
Yeah.
they're like, oh, you're not just going to build this and then leave.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
there's going to be a long lasting relationship. And I don't want to be a one trick pony. I would love to build multiple fields. When I get the first one built,
Yeah.
uh, but so we're not going anywhere. But 3up3down.org, or short 3u3d.org is where they can go and get more information.
Okay, great. We'll be sure to link to that and everything that we're putting out there, and we'll get the word out. I do highly recommend people get involved and also attend the poker tournament. If you enjoy playing poker, it's really, really well done. And so before I let you go, Rick, I know you've got a lot on your plate. What we do usually is we ask our guests to provide a life hack, a health hack for our listeners. So something that you practice in your own life that helps to enhance your health, either emotionally, physically, or financially.
Yep. I'm 54, and I do kind of consider myself in decent shape, other than I did break my leg the other day,
Oh no.
actually 3 weeks ago.
Oh
And
geez.
are you a baseball? You're a baseball person.
Yeah, I am.
So I broke my leg sliding into first. And I'll pause because this is where most people say you're not supposed to slide into first. But I'll caveat it. I was already on first. I was running on the pitch, fly ball to right field, had to get back. And
Okay.
when I got back and the dust settled, my foot was 90 degrees to where it was supposed to be.
Yikes.
Yeah. So unfortunately, no surgery. But um, my wife's like, "Are you done playing baseball?" I'm like, "No, not in the least." But
Good for
that
you.
said, I'm out for 6 weeks, and we'll see what happens after that. But it gives me time to kind of reflect on health and things like that. And
Yeah.
when you'd asked me, you said you wanted a health hack. Um, Anything that you can do in your life to reduce stress. And I know that's kind of a general thing, but like in general, like what people have heart attacks, so they have high blood pressure, so anything you could do to reduce stress. Now, like I said, I had the good fortune of retiring from what I call real life 4 or 5 years ago. Um, but what allowed me to do that was saving and investing. And we started, I don't know what the demographic is of your listeners, but one of the things that I try to teach my kids is the value of money and
Hmm.
the value of compounded interest and value of saving and investing. And each of our children, after they were born, 3 months later, they had a 529 account. And my kids are now 20, 17, and 14. And, when my oldest decided to go to Syracuse University, my alma mater, which was really exciting, but at $86,000 a year,
Yeah.
that could be a little stressful.
Yeah.
Um, and so, but again, we were always smart. We always kind of lived below our means growing up. Growing up when I was probably in my 30s, there was a book that you may know called Millionaire Next Door.
Hmm.
And it was about that. The guy next door to you drives the Honda Accord, is probably a millionaire, and it's just, we don't live that way. We just save and invest, and we do forego a lot. We don't go on all the vacations we want to go. We don't drive these luxurious $100,000 sports cars or anything like that. We do what we want to do. We enjoy our life, but I can tell you, saving and investing has made my life a lot easier and really reduce my stress level, because I have a lot of my friends that currently work 70, 80 hours a week. And I'm fearful that they're going to have heart attacks and, the stress that's related to that. So the one thing I could say, anything you can do to relieve your stress levels is going to help you in your life from a financial, from a health perspective. So that's the best advice I can give.
I think that's great. I think it's so important. It's something that we don't get taught usually in school. It's not something people learn and know about. And sometimes people start late. I mean, I started late myself. So I think that's really great advice. Thank you for that.
No, my pleasure. I think it's just a really important. They don't teach it in school.
Yeah.
And I wish they,
yeah,
about personal finance, and they just don't.
Yeah.
So.
There's so many strategies and products out there too that can really help people to protect their wealth that they've amassed and to grow it and just be in a better position to weather the storms that are coming, It's really important. So thank you for that.
My pleasure.
All right, Rick. Well, this has been such a great conversation. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day. It's nice to see we have so much in common. I've always felt there's a real connection between baseball people and poker players and people that just want to help their communities, and it's great to see you embody all of those things. So thank you for all the great work you're doing. We'll be sure to get the word out about 3 Up, 3 Down. And hopefully we'll have you back on in advance of your next big fundraiser sometime.
Let's make it happen. Next one will be, I think it's the last weekend in March, or the weekend before Easter, whenever that is. That'll be up on our website, probably sometime this fall. We're trying to figure out who our next guest celebrity player is. So if anybody has any links to former Major League players, let us know.
All right, another one. All right, that's perfect. All right, well, thank you all out there for listening to Sounds of Health. That's a wrap on another episode. We are brought to you by Nutmeg Insurance Advisors, and we record at the offices of Nutmeg Advisory Group. As always, I'm your host, Dave MacNiven, and Sounds of Health is produced by Jason Carubia with music by Rob Hames. Every week, we bring you stories that inspire, empower, and help you upgrade your health and life. If you enjoy the show, please be sure to like, share, subscribe, leave us a review. We love hearing from our listeners, and we hope that you will continue on as an important part of our wellness community. Thanks again. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.